Okay, the hour is 6 o'clock. Good evening and welcome to this regular scheduled business meeting of the Summersville City Council on this 14th day of October 2024. This time I'd like to welcome all of our guests and get started right away on tonight's agenda. The first item being consideration of the council minutes of the meeting we held on September 23rd of 2024.
Move to approve.
Okay, Wayne, we'll handle all that, okay?
Okay.
You vote.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Now hold on a second. I'm getting a call when you know. How do you end that? Just hold in. It's in the voicemail. Right in the middle. Okay, Wayne, sorry about that. I was getting a phone call.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a first and a second. The motion was to waive the reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. What I failed to say when I opened this meeting, Wayne is actually attending via his hospital room in UHC. And it's good news because Wayne is on a recovery. And so Wayne will continue to pray for you and wish you a speedy recovery and look forward to getting back in Summersville. And of course, BJ is absent tonight because he's down in Florida working emergency storm duty. So keep him and all those down there, and we'll keep him and all those down there in our prayers as well. Next item is public comment. Annabeth, Mr. Colley.
Oh, you're getting me first.
Yes, sir, your public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I come not to assign any blame, but I think council's had the same frustrations that we have with the sidewalk on Webster Road. The sidewalk is finished. I just met with the people this evening. The problem with the sidewalk project is not indicative to the city of Summersville's staff. You all should be very proud that your staff in this city works effectively and efficiently in a workmanlike manner. And I couldn't have better things to say about the water, street department, and everything else. I don't know of all the complications, and I'm not trying to assign blame to any one group, but your sidewalk design originally was to include a 2-foot strip of grass between the gutter and the sidewalk. Obviously, the engineering was way off because the sidewalk's right up against the power pole in front of Miss Campbell's, and the power pole that you paid to move at Mr. Tucker's was probably totally unnecessary. But my concern is that, you know, Mrs. Campbell has always complained about water backing up and the drain. Years ago, when the state put a new culvert across the road, the city put a new sewer pipe over to Starbuck Road that connected into the manhole at Mrs. Campbell's. They left the existing culvert pipe in there, and it's in that concrete box where you built the sidewalk. But the problem is the water used to come down from Kenny Kyle's down Webster Road, come back through that culvert pipe, then come back out and go out. Well, the city cleaned their ditch, but the state, they're all worried about the drainage down there. But I can tell you for 40 years, since 1984 that I've lived there, they've never cleaned that road. At the Boggs' house, which used to be my mother's, I cleaned that, I fixed that, I emptied it out. The state would have things from time to time. But that needs to be addressed by the state before you do your stormwater problem, because everything from Walker Avenue to Gladwell Drive all drains down and it ends up on Kentucky Road. The other issue is that, again, I've been there for 40 years. We've had that property since 1965. These sidewalks are urgently needed. It's dangerous walking down through there. People would step over into Mother's yard and walk up the banks. But if you put the sidewalks in, and they still come flying over at 45 and faster at times coming out of my driveway, the state needs to do something about that speed limit. So I just wanted to be sure that council knew of that You can inspect. If anybody'd like me to show them, I'd gladly show them. I mentioned it to Gus Rader before he retired. He cleaned the ditch on Starbuck Road, but he didn't clean the state's ditch. Well, if you look, water comes down Gladwell Drive, everything from the hill, right in front of the Young's house. Water runs down Webster Road, comes onto my driveway, washes over into the ditch, goes down into the side, comes back under the Balderson driveway and back out. And there's a culvert there. Again, under the concreted driveways that Mr. Young put in when he built his house, and he concreted mine also. That was part of the deal with him and Mr. Rader when he bought the property, was to put in new culverts. My mother was living. John Gerald was over the state road at that time. The state installed those culverts. They're the plastic corrugated culverts that met whatever specs that the state wanted. Well, what's going to happen when that sidewalk comes on up Webster Road? How's it going to affect our driveways there? Because I have 16 feet between the Balder's house and Mr. Young's, so that's my driveway. But we just wanted to be sure. I always tried to work in a cooperative way with the city, and that's the reason I built that road, and that's the reason I installed that water line, was because the city was planning on building a sidewalk. Well, I'm told, and I don't know everything about water and sewer, but I'm told that Jeremy came through there and he was extending his lines and sewer, whatever he needs. He's got the proper shut-off valve. But there's something that you're going to need to connect over to the opposite side of the road for the water or sewer or something before they go on it through there. That all being said, they piled concrete. I told them they could pile it there, but as they go forward, let them take it somewhere else when they go on up Webster Road. Because I've had my equipment sitting there to move the fill that they needed to get rid of, but they need to take it another way. But it is much needed, and this is no reflection on your city employees, because I gave James Corbett, I had a survey for where I surveyed that road out. I have a survey when the Balderses bought Mother's house, they didn't buy the whole yard. All those surveys tied back into the property that the city bought for the city park, because Joe Young did all those surveys, and he tied everything back in, all the connecting properties to Grove Street and everything. So we had a survey stake right there at the corner. Well, you came over on us a couple of feet. I'm not worried about it. But the city needs to write an easement, the 15 feet that they had across Greg and they had across Ms. Campbell. I don't believe there's one on the front that I'm aware of, but we need to get that clear, because we operate that as a farm. It sits in, we just cut it for hay and take care of things, but that's going to be up for the children and the grandchildren to do something with, not me.
Okay. So Lawrence, let me first of all make a statement here. Public comment protocol is you get to speak, and we're not really so what I'm going to do is I'm going to vary from it a little bit, only because I have the sidewalk on my mayor's comments at the end of at the close of the meeting tonight. So there's a couple things I want to say. First of all, I was of a misunderstanding. I knew you wanted an easement, but I thought it was a construction easement like we did for Ms. Campbell and Greg and Sharon Tucker. What you're wanting is a permanent easement of some sorts. Is that correct? Am I understanding?
I think you need something in case the 15 foot that Mrs. Campbell, obviously some of your improvements had to come over onto her property. There just needs to be an easement, because everything that they've done has been on my word and the city employees. I said, I want it to be good. What if something happens to me? Oh no, you don't have an easement to come across here.
Okay.
Simple thing,
Right.
15-foot easement.
Okay, so we'll work on that. Then let me just give an update here, and then this update also includes the next phase of the sidewalk. Yes, initially we had a miss with engineering. And yes, these projects are really interesting because although it's a city project, it's just city by name. We basically have no control. We had it engineered. We did pick the engineer through the legal engineer selection process. We picked the engineer. The engineer designs it, but that design went back and forth with the state engineering. So although there wasn't a mistake in the original plan, the engineering of the sidewalk, our engineer missed it, and then it was approved by the state. And what that was is yes, there was supposed to be a 2-foot grass area, which, to be truthful with you, we fought that from the beginning because we didn't want it, because now we've got to send weed eaters all the way down through there, and we'd eat 2 feet all the time. So the way it ended up is much better. And you're exactly right, there was a mistake. As a matter of fact, we're still waiting on a change order because the change of that mistake is going to cost some additional funds, and of which we'll take care of, and there are contingencies in the project. And then the other thing I want to say is that I myself worked with the U.S. Post Office. We moved Miss Campbell. I know it's an interruption, it's an aggravation. The bottom line is there wasn't a whole lot we could do to push the contractor, because when the contract was bid, the completion date was November 10th. And technically they can come and go as they please. They've got till that November 10th date till the penalties kick in when they're not completed with the project. So I know it's an aggravation, and what I want to tell everybody, including the citizens that sometimes have gotten aggravated because it's a 1-lane road, and it obviously, because of the traffic through there, it's backed up traffic horrendously at times. This is the small aggravation and irritation of progress. Because if we're going to continue to build out this city and make it a city of tomorrow, not yesterday, these are the kind of things that we're going to have to put up with. And phase 2 is already funded. And now, because phase 1 is in the completion, I walked the sidewalks last Friday with the state inspector and the state inspector's boss, and they still had not completed the driveways. I don't know if they got them completely done and paved and all that today, but I was told that was going to be done this week. Along with the other issue I have is they were going to leave the end of the sidewalk that dumps into a culvert, they were going to leave it that way. And I said, absolutely not. Some kid or person come walking down there, some kid burning down there at nighttime with his bicycle, dumps off into that culvert, we're going to have a suit. So we are going to put a temporary rail on the end of that sidewalk to make sure nobody dumps off into the culvert. And then it won't be long, next year, and phase 2 will start, which will run us from where we quit this one all the way down to the Young property. And we don't know exactly, it's all going to depend on the money that we have secured and how far that will take us. Even like this sidewalk didn't take us where we were headed, because when push come to shove, we didn't have the money to go where phase 1 was originally intended to go. So all of that is underway. I will get with you on the easement. And then again, away from my protocol, if you make public comment and I'm not supposed to respond, I will tell you, it's probably been a decade ago. We actually had a traffic study done on Webster Road. The traffic study done at that time said the speed limit was adequate for the traffic volume and the traffic. What the state did at that time, maybe some of you might remember, what the state did is they came back and tried to cut the city of Summersville a deal. They said, if you'll let us increase the speed on 19 through Summersville to 60, we'll reduce the speed limit that you're asking for on Webster Road. And their point was, Webster Road traffic study said the speed limit was adequate. 19 speed limit says 60 is, when they do traffic studies, 60 is the speed that could be handled at 19 through Summersville. Well, we adamantly opposed increasing the speed in Summersville to 60, so therefore it took the option of reducing the speed on Webster Road. It negated that. Said, no, if you won't increase this, we're not going to do that. So what I will do in listening to you tonight is I will readdress again with the state to see if they can do another traffic study on Webster Road, and maybe faces and things have changed, and maybe we might be able to look at the speed limit with a possible reduction. But last time the traffic study said that that speed was adequate. 19 traffic study that they did at the same time said it could be increased to 60, and we said no, so we didn't get what the traffic study didn't say needed to be done, which was reduction on Webster Road. okay? And then I will get with you on those easements, because we'll definitely make sure that you've got an easement in place that allows you to, you know, come across that sidewalk at all times to your private property.
I have nothing but admiration for the way the city of Summersville is run and the way all your departments. But your line of thinking with the state highway engineering, Alexander Graham Bell came up with a wonderful invention called the telephone. When the inspector sits down there counting the fish in my pond for 3 or 4 weeks, the city should be very concerned.
So let me tell you this, Lawrence, there's a big place in Charleston that's got a gold on top of it. Okay?
I know.
That's where you need to go with that, because let me tell you something, and just so everybody knows, this project paid for that.
Huh?
That guy to sit there, whether they're working or not, this project paid for that. But that is certainly way out of my pay grade and way out of anybody sitting here's authority. And so, you know,
I share your frustration.
yes, thank you, sir. Thank you,
you.
Lawrence. Have a good evening. Okay, moving right along. The next item on the agenda is approval to accept Gregory Street into the city portfolio. We got a first and a second.
Second.
Okay, we got a first and a second. Okay, so now I'll give you the details. And actually, that's the way it's supposed to work. Okay, this is a street that we plowed, I don't know how long. Quite frankly, some thought it was a city street, and it's not. This street actually accesses 4 properties. This street has been brought to our attention of recent because of a major operation that sits on the corner of this street called an Airbnb. So it's brought a lot of additional traffic to this street. So in doing so, because, you know, so moving forward, what I request, and we've got a motion on the table, is to take this street into the city system. It's current, and then also at the end of this street, we use it as a turnaround when we snowplow. Of course, it's now super congested due to the Airbnb. We're adding about 300 feet to our city system. It's 4 homes. One of those is the Airbnb, which has brought a tremendous amount of traffic to that area and that street. I will tell you that in doing so, because there's wear and tear on the road, some of which could or couldn't have been caused by snow plows, I worked out a deal with the residents, and we're basically splitting the cost of paving this street. And I will tell you to date that we have received their funds. Interesting enough, the Airbnb, which probably will have a higher percentage of traffic on that street, they even kicked in a little higher percentage than what the other property owners did for their share, which I thought was pretty good considering the owner of that property lives in Arizona. So currently, we're having Wayne Acord, our city surveyor, survey it to give us a 20-foot right-of-way down there, which we pretty much, that's where the street is. And so with your approval tonight, we'll move forward, and this will become an official city street, Gregory Street. We have a first and a second. Is there any discussion?
Where is it? Well, I know it, I've been there, I've seen it somewhere, but I can't remember where it is.
Okay, so,
On Daniel Street,
yeah.
right across from Hardy's, back in behind the bed and breakfast. About 100 yards behind the bed and breakfast. Brock House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's Daniel Street. It's
Daniel.
off of Daniel Street.
Okay, I've seen it, but that's not in the city, huh?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion so carries. Okay, as promised, council, I told you from time to time we would get an update from my executive assistant, Marianne Taylor. So Marianne, I invite you to the podium to give us an update on projects.
Well, good evening. And as the mayor said, I'm here to provide you some updates on the progress and initiatives of several committees in which I serve as the city representative. So I'm going to start with the Homeless Commission. The Homeless Commission was established in response to Mayor Schaefer's recognition of the urgent need to address the increase in the homeless population in Nicholas County. This commission is a collective effort of about 25 volunteers from the community, nonprofit organizations, and church leaders. Councilman Epling and I serve as the city representatives on the commission. For the last few months, the commission has spent time becoming educated about homelessness, a process that we believed was crucial for understanding and addressing the complex issue. We also brought in a guest speaker, Darlene Newsom from Arizona, who shared with us her 40-plus years of experience with homelessness. We've learned that there are multiple definitions of homelessness, from tent cities, couch servers, living in cars, and having no substantial housing. We've also learned about the point-in-time system, which is a count system that's done each year. It's to count the sheltered and unsheltered people experiencing homelessness on a single night in January. HUD requires this annual count, and each county is responsible for organizing that and planning it each year. As I said, it's one specific day in January. Even though we have the point in time, what we have found, and I think what most organizations have found, is it's really difficult to give an accurate account or an accurate number of homeless people in the state and in the county, because there's so many different definitions of homelessness. But according to the point-in-time survey that was conducted in January of 2023, there were 1,416 homeless people documented in West Virginia. Now that study, if you read it, it states multiple times that the actual number of those experiencing homelessness is most likely much higher due to the difficulty in counting the entire population. So with that being said, the Homeless Commission is now ready and prepared to host our first event, which will address the needs of the county's homeless population. And this event is going to be a resource fair. It's going to be held on October 31st at the Family Life Center at the Summersville Baptist Church from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event is going to include a hot lunch, recovery services, healthcare services, mental health services, veterans services, hygiene bags, haircuts, food bags, options for laundry services, clothing, and blankets. There will also be a children's area with activities and kid-friendly bags. We will have peer leaders there to talk to those attending to learn if there are additional needs that we can assist with in the next event. MTA is on board and will be providing transportation to outlying and local areas. They will make a stop at the Richwood City Hall at 10 a.m., Craigsville U-Save at 10:30, Mount Nebo U-Save at 10:15, Birch River Go-Mart at 10:30, and Summersville Merchants Walk parking lot near the Big Lots end at 10:45. Then MTA will come back and pick all the folks up, take them back to their original stops. The city's also helping by providing some transportation. We will have the availability of a city vehicle and driver in case we do need to transport someone to the laundromat or maybe to the thrift shop for clothing, or just if something comes up during that time frame that we've forgotten about and we need. One of the goals of this resource fair is to encourage collaboration and to learn more about the people in our community who may be facing some difficult circumstances. This event provides resources that our homeless population may be unaware of or may not be able to get to them. The resource fair is just the beginning of the help that they need to, over time, get to a level of sustaining daily needs and moving beyond their current situation. I also want to talk just a little bit about stigma. So the stigma of homelessness often perpetrates negative stereotypes, leading to discrimination and social isolation of those people that are affected. Stigma can hinder access to essential services and support, making it more challenging for those individuals to rebuild their lives. Recognizing that supporting those in need is a compassionate and a proactive step toward long-term solutions is very essential. Our initiative, the Homeless Commission's initiative, focuses on a hand-up approach. We aim to empower individuals by connecting them with the necessary resources and services and support systems that enable them to rebuild their lives. By collaborating with local agencies and organizations, we're creating a comprehensive network that addresses the immediate needs of the homeless population and the underlying issues that continue in their circumstances. We also know that some community members may feel that this initiative will attract more homeless people to our county and make it easy for those people to remain in their current situation. But that is not the purpose of this resource fair. We have had a tremendous outpour of organizations in the community who are going to be setting up on October 31st to provide the services that they offer. By providing these services, we're going to be helping individuals regain stability and foster self-sufficiency. So together, we can actually turn compassion into action, and we can coordinate resources for individuals and families that need a hand up to escape their circumstances. Ultimately, a strong support system for the homeless reflects the values and the responsibility, strengthening the social fabric of our own community. So each of you has a flyer about the resource fair. And I have to say, Mayor Schaefer came up with a great tagline, "Know someone, tell someone." You'll see that on that flyer. So what I'm asking you is to take that flyer, and if you need more, you can let me know, but take that flyer and tell someone. And also on behalf of the Homeless Commission, we want to thank Mayor Schaefer and all of you for your unwavering support in our mission to help the homeless. I will be back to report to you the success of our event and what we did well and what we need to do at the next event. So the next committee is the Beautification Committee. Lauren Beam, with assistance from Annabeth Anderson, chaired the Beautification Committee. This committee was convened in 2021, and it, again, is a group of individuals from the community and from non-profit organizations, all volunteers. And they are responsible for planning and developing the arts and creative placemaking in the community. And I serve as the city representative on the committee. They've accomplished 3 murals, one at the old USAID lot, one at 402 Church Street, which was the very first mural, and the latest mural at the old main gym. And now it's time to move on to something different. So the committee is working on a really clever idea to rejuvenate the alley beside City Hall. It's in the planning stages, but ideas are to paint the asphalt, to add some creative artwork, some lighting, some plants, some seating, and all of this will enhance the aesthetics of the Summersville downtown area. By transforming this underutilized space, the community is going to gain an additional eye-appealing space for relaxation and social interaction, especially during city events. The committee anticipates a budget of $10,000 for this revitalization, and they have applied for a $5,000 grant from the Nicholas County Community Foundation, and we're just waiting a response from the foundation. Accelerate West Virginia, I've spoke on that before, so I'll give you a little update on that. As you know, Summersville was accepted into the second cohort of Accelerate West Virginia. We join 10 other communities in the state. We have 7 community volunteers, and I serve as the city representative. I can tell you this team is very committed, and they are committed to 24 months of training in leadership, pre-development services for sustainable green projects, and entrepreneur development. We meet every month, whether it be in person or virtually, and this month, next week actually, between October 23rd and the 25th, we will be traveling to Charleston, where we will have a meeting with all the other communities that are in the cohort. So it'll be a really great experience. Our team and all the teams there will each have 6 minutes for a presentation to talk about the great things in your community, but also the challenges. We really believe that this time together will help us to network and learn about similar communities, and also provide some additional educational opportunities, leadership, and economic resilience. The final goal of this committee is to develop a plan for a sustainable green project. And as a member of Accelerate West Virginia, we will receive up to $45,000 in technical assistance and the opportunity to apply for grants for our project. Next is the electric charging station. So again, I know you all know that the city entered into an agreement with Tennessee Tech to be a site host for the Rural Reimagined EV Charging Network Program, which is through the U.S. Department of Energy. We did receive our station. It's a ChargePoint Express 250. It's a smart DC fast charging station. It's designed to charge current and next generation electric vehicles. It provides an ultra fast charge. I believe it's 62.5 kilowatts. Depending on the size of the battery and how much you want to charge your battery is what dictates how long you have to charge. So it can be anywhere from 30 minutes and up for the charge. The station is going to be located at 800 Northside Drive, which is the Ferguson office building. We have at least 2 parking spaces. We certainly have had our challenges with this station. The biggest challenge has been receiving the electrical parts that we need for the installation, but I'm happy to say that we do have all the parts now. However, we are still waiting to receive the ChargePoint's mounting template, and now we're waiting for Mon Power to install a pole. We do have an EV charging station certified electrician, which whoever installs it does have to be specifically certified in electric vehicle installation. So Ben Simpkin is certified, and he is authorized to install the station once we get the template and the pole. So once we get it all up, which I'm hoping will be no later than the end of November, we'll be able to have a ribbon cutting, we'll be able to list it on the ChargePoint map, and we will be in the study that Tennessee Tech is doing. As a participant in the study, it's going to examine ways to accelerate economic development, support existing businesses, and enhance quality of life and boost tourism development. And all of this study comes from how long someone's at the charging station and where they go and what they do while their vehicle's being charged. Attendance matters. Adopt a school. I know you've all heard last month that the Board of Education is really pushing an effort to increase attendance in the schools because we do have a chronic absenteeism issue. So Mayor Schaefer has challenged businesses to adopt a school. So the city has adopted Summersville Elementary as our school for this academic year. And so what that means is we as a city will become more visible in the school and participate in reading programs, special assemblies, various academic fairs, special events that they may need help with. We also plan to do an activity each month with a specific grade level that will focus on attendance. We're going to begin those activities in November and continue through May. So if any of you have any extra time, we certainly would love to have you help us throughout this year and be be visible in the school. I also serve on Summersville Elementary School Improvement Council and also at Nicholas County High School. I just want to say that it is important to remember that adopting a school is not just about a monetary incentive. It's about being a mentor. And you all would make great mentors. But mentoring is very important because it creates a sense of belonging. It promotes positive school culture. And it makes the students feel valued and motivated to attend school. So I challenge all of you to help us 1 month with an activity or with something that we're doing at the school. My last 2 committees are actually 2 fairly new ones. The first is called Thriving Communities. The Fayette Raleigh Metropolitan Planning Organization is partnering with Region 4, the Brad and Elise Smith Outdoor Economic Development Collaborative, and the Mon Forest Towns Partnership to launch a U.S. Department of Transportation Thriving Communities Regional Pilot Program that will serve disadvantaged rural areas and outdoor recreation economy. This program will provide capacity building and technical assistance to advance surface transportation projects within 11 Appalachian heartland communities. And those are Boone, Mercer, Summers, Nicholas, Greenbrier, Fayette, Randolph, Tucker, Gilmer, Raleigh, and Braxton counties. So our fit with Thriving Communities is the hiking and biking trails at the Summersville Recreational Complex. I believe there's $2 million that's going to be available for these 11 communities in the Appalachian Heartland program. And these funds may receive, or they'll support planning and technical assistance and capacity building of the hiking and biking trail. So as I said, this is early on, so I will report back as we progress. And the last one is called Build West Virginia. Again, it's another one that's early on. Build West Virginia, the Build West Virginia Act provides tax incentives to encourage residential housing development in designated areas of Build West Virginia districts. So currently, the city is working with with the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority to become a Build West Virginia district. One of the steps to apply to become a Build West Virginia district is a housing assessment. New River Gorge Regional Development Authority has contracted with the Boeing National Research to assess the housing needs, and Summersville will be one of the areas that will be deeply evaluated in this assessment. The results should become available sometime in mid to late January. This is the very first step for the city to be able to apply to be a Build West Virginia district. And we're going to continue working with the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority so that we'll meet all the criteria for the application. Being a Build West Virginia district will open the doors to tax incentives for developers, construction managers, contractors, subcontractors, and it's going to hopefully encourage residential housing development, which we so need. So after January of next year, I'll have more information on this project. So in closing, I just want to emphasize that each one of these committees, as I said, has a remarkable commitment to achieve its goals. And we are all grateful for your support. And as we progress, each committee will remain focused on its goals, and I look forward to reporting many positive things in the future. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Wow. Great update, Mary Ann, and don't want to single any one group of people out because you talked about a whole bunch, and you know, we as a city are so blessed and thankful that we've got people that will step up like the folks that you're working with. I will say that I appreciate your attendance on all those efforts, and certainly, Jim, kudos to you too. I know that homeless has been a major undertaking, and so you know, sounds like a lot of great things going on, and so please send our regards back to all those groups that you gave us an update, and we're really pleased with what they're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
Okay, moving right along. No, go ahead. Recorder's report. There was. Oh no, I know. I wanted to back up. One thing I wanted to back up and say. Back to Gregory Street. As often happens in the city when the West Virginia paving company's coming to town and paving, individuals will reach out to them privately to have some paving done while they're there. And so there will be some private paving done off of Gregory Street as well. And rest assured, from private property on, that's being paid for by the property owners, not the city of Summersville. So I just wanted to say that because as last year when we paved, an individual reached out and had some private paving done, but that is totally separate deal. That's made directly with them and West Virginia Paving. It's just kind of a win-win for our citizens that they're willing to hit them while they are, but those are separate invoices and separate paving. Okay, Gary, recorder's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to update a little bit on the on our Planning and Zoning Commission. I want this body to know, City Council to know that Planning and Zoning has been working on addressing a few ordinances. It's more about just correcting some minor issues in our ordinances, and we're not rewriting ordinances, but we are correcting some of them. I'll get into that a little bit more as we can bring it to this body, and I'll read through them with you and explain it all to you. But some examples are the mayor is listed in some of those ordinances to be responsible for things that really the mayor should not be responsible for. The recorder also is responsible for some things that really shouldn't be, that takes the expertise and the educating of what our code official does. If I was doing it, I wouldn't be educated in certain permitting and things like that to do that. So we've made some of those corrections, and we'll be bringing those to you. The reason it's not here yet is we do have to have a time frame. We have to post those in the newspaper for a certain amount of days before announcing that we're going to be doing it. So we're going through that process. It's my understanding that that's been sent over to Nicholas Chronicle. So we'll start the clock, and I'll let you know when we're going to bring those things to you. But there are 5 on this list. I'm excited to say. I know I've had much conversation with the mayor, and he's been aware of these ordinances for a while, and we want to get these addressed and start trying to clean some of those up. So I'm happy to say we'll be coming to you with 5 of them that we got passed on our last Planning and Zoning meeting. Also, I do want to say the next, as promised, I told Councilman Shaw that I would look into this, which is a really good thing we brought to our attention, the airport, and it's missing out of our comprehensive plan, and we feel that it needs to be in there. Our body, the Planning and Zoning, just wants to make sure that we're going to get in there verbiage-wise what the airport authority would like to see in there. Also, I had a conversation with Councilman Shaw, and I know he's sending an email over to his folks. But we're going to take a little field trip. I'm just going to announce it. It'll be May 4th, and we'll be taking a little field trip. We'll take the Planning and Zoning out of the chamber and out to the airport. I don't believe we're going to be flying that day, but we will take a tour and look at the facilities and just wrap our head around the facility and everything that they have going on. And it is wonderful. What this airport authority has accomplished over the past few years is amazing. I'm excited to take a look at it, and it's just amazing what it's doing. It's a no-brainer to get it into our feasibility study or our comprehensive plan. So really looking forward to that. Other than that, that is going to be May 4th, Monday. So far, unless there's
November
4th. What did I say?
May.
Yeah, November. Sorry, I'm a little behind, Chuck.
No, maybe a little ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little ahead. November 4th. I'm sorry. Now I did, when I sent them over an email for Chuck to pass along. It is hinging on whether or not that schedule meets their schedule. So if there's no issues there, it'll be November 4th at 6 o'clock at the airport. So looking forward to that. And that wraps up my recorder's report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gary. You know, it's funny you say May. I got a birthday invitation in the mail to a birthday party, and it's an organization that's going to be celebrating their 60th year. But I have to let them know by October 16th of this year if I can be at the birthday party that's in February of next year. Just never seen anything like that before,
Yeah.
you know. You got to RSVP by the 16th of this month for a birthday party at the end of February. Okay, council, I got several things I'd like to run down here real quick before we move into executive session. First of all, I would like to do is highlight a couple of things. I had a gentleman by the name of Scott Worley call me, and he was just totally impressed with the water, with the I&I crew, the water department as people call it. You know, they have been redoing the water line down 41, and of course when they hooked that system up, he had pressure that was blowing everything out in his house. And of course he comes running outside, and he comes outside, and it's my understanding Jeremy was sitting in the truck, and he said the gentleman didn't even make me walk all the way to him. As soon as he saw me coming, he come and met me. And he just went on and on and on and on about the awesome customer service of utilities and our city workers. So when you get compliments like that, I just feel it's important that we let everybody know that we did get a compliment, because there is a lot of great work being done by city employees. Also on Friday, I received a call from Steve Brown, the Mount Nebo Steve Brown, the Tractor Bar Steve Brown, and he was driving through town, and he called me, and I answered the phone, and actually I missed his call. I called him back, and he said, well, Robert, I was driving through downtown Summersville. And you know, when I get those calls, I just start, oh, what's going. But anyway, he too went on and on and on about how good Summersville looks, the flowers, the downtown, the flags. And often I get compliments everywhere I go about the city, and I want to make sure that unequivocally I pass that compliment on where it belongs. We've got incredible city crews that work overtime, day and night. No matter when it is, we call on them to do something, they do it. And so, again, I told Steve, that's much appreciated, because it's not always those kind of phone calls that I get. So when somebody does reach out, it's a pleasure. Want to highlight Halloween trick-or-treating, again, is going to be on Halloween this year, October 31st, along with Safe Zone. You still got a little bit of time if you want to be a business partner in Safe Zone. You can call here City Hall, Mary Ann, and get signed up to pass out candy in the Safe Zone, which is at the Summersville Arena and Conference Center. So both the Safe Zone and City of Summersville trick-or-treating is October 31st, 6 to 8 p.m. Let's see. Council, I wanted to bring you up to speed in the very near future. If not, no, it won't be the next council meeting because it takes the state some time. But we had a retired employee reach out to the state board, state retirement board, and indicate to the state retirement board that they were missing 2 years on their retirement. And so, and obviously, that's because of what's trafficked through here with our active employees. I did tell you that we did a reconciliation of active employees, and we've caught all those, but quite frankly, it never even crossed my mind to look at people that were on our retirement rolls. So I know for sure that in the future, we'll be bringing back through this body to make up the difference for 2 retired employees. And at this time, Cookie is going through our retired employees roster to see if there's any others so we can catch them all at the same time. But we do have 2 employees currently that are definitely wanting us to back up and pick up those first 2 years. And when the state called us, quite frankly, they said there's no choice on our behalf. We had to do it because it's state law that they should have been on retirement. So we're working those two, and there's a couple others that we're looking that are currently on the retirement rolls. So hopefully we'll be one more one and done with retired employees. With that said, the only other thing I would do is I'm going to read a private message here, or a message that's on behalf of me as the city's mayor, and just give some information to the city as a whole. My wife and I have begun the planning of our next phase of our life, which is retirement. In doing so, we want to spend more time with our children and grandchildren. Our youngest daughter and her family live in Scott Depot. Our oldest daughter and her family live in Duluth, Minnesota. Therefore, we have elected to maintain our lives in West Virginia and do the traveling to Minnesota. Effective January, the official mayor's residence will be 417 Whortleberry Avenue here in Summersville, a property in which we own. We have sold our home on 350 Starbuck Road and secured a home in Cross Lanes, West Virginia. Our primary residence will remain in Summersville as we plan to float back and forth for the next decade. I want to be clear, I will live in Summersville and maintain the duties and responsibilities as your mayor like I have for the last 17 plus years. I will also be maintaining my business in Summersville with absolutely no intentions at this time to sell. So folks will probably see at the end of this month, not probably, they will, at the end of this month, we will be moving our house in two directions. Some of it's staying here and moving into our home at Whortleberry, and the rest of it's going to the home that we've secured in Cross Lanes. So be it known that no, the mayor's not leaving. The mayor's just moving his residence from 350 Starbuck Road to 517 Whortleberry. Okay, council, any questions on any of the mayor's report?
I thought you said 417 the first time.
What I said the second time?
517.
It's 417. 417 Whortleberry. There's something in the air tonight.
He's trying to make sure
Chuck's on his game.
everybody knows where to go.
Yeah.
Chuck's on his game.
Good, thank you, sir. Yeah, 417 Whortleberry. Actually, it sits right in behind the shopping plaza. Okay, if there are any council comments? Okay, council, we do need an executive session. Ray, there should not be anything reported out of executive session, just to let you know. I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
Second.
Got a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. As soon as council chamber is clear, we'll move into executive session. Thank you.